How do you know if you're receiving answers from Shakti slash God slash the universe or whatever you want to call it, or if it is the ego? So this is a great question. So the ego, generally speaking, is operating out of a state of being incomplete and a state of fear. It can be very subtle or it can be very obvious. And so if you're being called to a certain direction, we can use our discernment. We can go into meditation with our self-awareness. We can ask, am I moving towards a certain direction out of fear? Am I running away from something? Am I trying to, complete myself because I feel like I'm, incomplete? Those are generally speaking the ways that the ego is motivated to, cause us to move through the world. Obvious, maybe exaggerated example, you may feel I'm not complete until I get a really good job. So you work really hard to get this job that you don't really care about. It's just you're chasing after it out of fear of, not being praised by your family or whatever it is. And you feel that I'm not complete yet until I get this job. That's like an ego sort of motivation. Now, when you're receiving answers from Shakti, the universe, your higher self, your intuition, it feels exciting. It feels really right. It's almost effortless at times, and this can happen quite often. You may find yourself doing something and you don't even remember how you even got there because you were just in the flow, no thoughts, just totally in the flow, riding the waves of excitement towards something. So this is how we can discern between, whether I'm being called towards something through my ego or whether it's through Shakti. Now, maybe I did my best here, but maybe I didn't express it too clearly, but maybe that sounds too easy. It's not that easy. In reality, we have to do a little bit of a dance. We have to do a little bit of a practice. And you're allowed to follow the ego. You're allowed to, be motivated by fear and feeling incomplete. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? It's just that we have to learn how to discern these different ways of moving through the world. We have to learn how to flow. So it takes time, it takes practice. So don't be afraid. If you have an inclination and motivation, and you're like, I don't know if this is of the ego, I don't know if this is of my higher self, my intuition, my Shakti, just do it and see what happens. Of course, if it's something like, I want to go and yell at somebody or offend somebody or abuse somebody, then of course it's of the ego. You don't do that. But if you're just not sure, then, conduct a little experiment and see how things unfold. In time, you'll become very sharp and able to discern very quickly, what is really motivating me? Is this fear or is this, moving in alignment with my higher calling, moving in alignment with the flow? Eventually in time, after enough experimentation, the flow picks up so much momentum that you can even drop this question of, what am I being motivated by? There's just so much momentum behind you. You're so in the flow now. You're in alignment with your purpose, your calling. You're in alignment with working through whatever's coming up in your body. If the Kundalini is saying, to sit and meditate or to go for a walk in nature or to read a particular book, there's so much momentum. You just end up, doing everything that you need to do without, having this question, is this my ego? Is this my mind? Is this my higher self? The question just falls away. The momentum takes you. It's kind of like, though ego can, of course, still creep up for me, every day. But for the most part, like even when I'm doing this work, like it's just so much momentum behind it now that I just know that my mind can't interfere anymore. The Shakti is just flowing through me. The same goes for my own internal process. It's just, I'm so aligned with the Shakti within me now through experimentation, through practice, through feeling out the distinction between ego and, the Kundalini's intelligence, that there's just, it's just so natural to me now. It's a whole new way of operating. But in order to get there, a little bit of experimentation, and don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to, make some quote unquote mistakes. And they're not mistakes. They're all about learning and feeling things out. So I hope that can help you, Zaid. I appreciate it. A lot of people thumbsing up and hearting your question. So appreciate it. Thank you.